Hello everyone, welcome back to Adventure of a Lifetime. Let's go ahead and continue. Let's repeat that voice.
ひんやりして気持ちいい。
Emily took off her shoes and went in barefoot up to her knees. Holding her skirt to keep it dry, she stared at her own legs in wonder. Hey, everything okay?
なんでもない。水が透明だっただけ。海の水は透明に決まってるでしょうが。
No, actually. Ocean water this clear is rare. You've just never been off the islands.
何を？田舎者だってバカにしたな。ねえ。
Why you? We started our water fight again. Emily, left alone once more, started to get bored.
えい。
She raised her leg a little and kicked the water. She'd never reach us at this rate.
えい。
Emily was like a little kid touching water for the first time, timidly splashing around. It was kind of cute. And as I was thinking on these pleasant thoughts,
おりゃ。
Jesus sent a huge wave over to Emily. As it hit her right in the face, she froze in shock.
何それ。 ちょっと飲んじゃったじゃない。今の私じゃないわよ。
Sorry.
何するのよ、ヒロ君まで。
Well, you're all wet now. You might as well. I said as I waved her over.
やよ。
Emily, stubborn as ever, folded her arms and looked away. She was a tough cookie. Several buckets worth of water cascaded down on Emily, leaving her soaked to the bone. As droplets of water ran down her hair and over her face, Emily stared in shock. We all knew the culprit. Finn seemed to smile merrily as he waved his tail fin, taunting her.
あっち
I can't believe he...
ゃー。やったわねー。待ちなさい。
Emily took off after the fleeing Finn. Naturally, Emily had no idea what would happen if she tried to run in the water. She lost her footing in the water and did a perfect belly flop. The sea was shallow here, so there was no real danger, however. Emily, are you okay? I ran to help her when she didn't come up on her own.
だから海なんて嫌いなのよ。私知らない。
Shisa took off after Finn. Emily sat in the knee-deep water and glared at her enemy, the ocean. Just give up and swim.
は
I mean, you're already soaked down to your underwear, right?
あ、パンツ。
Emily turned bright red and looked at her lower body. Then and she looked nervously at the rocky cliffs guarding the entrance of the inlet.
って握っててくれる？
She said with her eyes turned up, looking embarrassed. She must really have been scared of the water.
ヒロ君が手をつないでてくれるなら泳いであげてもいいわ。セーブしておいたわ。
Let's try getting used to the water first, Emily. Just until you're used to the water. What's the matter?
それでいいけど、なんかちょっと冷たい言い方に聞こえた。
When I was too nice to Emily, Chisa would start to sulk, so I ended up sounding a little harsh. Okay, I'll hold your hand until you're ready to let go.
それで手を打ってあげる。
Okay, let's go. I took Emily's hand and led her out into deeper water. She became hesitant as the water began to rise above her clothes. And in that sailor uniform, it was quite a rare sight to behold.
立ってられない。
If you just hold still, you'd float. Grab onto me. Emily placed the hand on my shoulder. She didn't have to worry about sinking, but she didn't have good control of her body either. So she held onto me tightly.
ごめんね。
Nah, I should be thanking you. I am getting hugged by a cute girl after all.
ヒロ君って本当は女たらしなの？
Huh? Why?
なんとなく前もそんなこと言ってたし、慣れてる感じがする。
If I was, wouldn't I have at least one girlfriend by now?
いないの？
Unfortunately, no.
チサは？
Chisa? She's just an old friend. Besides, we haven't seen each other for nearly 4 years now. And she said something about a boyfriend. I only vaguely recall that conversation. Emily eyed me suspiciously.
ヒロ君ってチサにはしないよね。女たらしみたいなこと。
That's because I'm not some crazy skirt chaser. I was really only trying to be nice. Oh, it drops off here, so be careful. Just beyond the inlet entrance, the seafloor dropped away like a cliff and got much deeper. Relax, there's nothing to be afraid of.
だって足が溺れちゃう。
Why don't you take a look below the surface? You'll see the ocean is nothing to be afraid of.
海は怖い場所だもん。サメとか意地悪なイルカとかいて。
Dolphins like that are pretty rare. To show her how, I took a deep breath and went under. I looked up and waved at Emily from under the water. Emily gave up and followed suit. Try opening your eyes. She couldn't hear me, but I tapped her shoulder and she got the message. Emily slowly opened her eyes. The first thing she saw was probably air bubbles. The air we breathed out was climbing back to the surface. Then came the sunlight piercing the clear water. A view of the seafloor was spread out beyond the oscillating curtain of light. There were coral reefs and schools of fish. It was beautiful, seen scattered with organisms colored like gems. Emily gazed ahead in wonder, while I watched her from the side. Her face suddenly turned a shade of blue. I quickly tapped her on the shoulder, then pointed upward. Of course you did. Remember to breathe.
覚えたわ。息継ぎね。息継ぎ。
So how was it? Looks like you were so caught up you forgot to breathe. It seemed like she was too stubborn to admit the truth. Her face reddened and her lips grew tight as she spoke.
まあ、綺麗なんじゃないかしら。控えめに言っても、すごく。
She seemed to be looking for a word that went beyond just pretty. As Emily laid a hand on my shoulder, she appeared reluctant to say more as she stared at the sparkling surface.
海の中は全然暗くなんてなかった。光が輝いてて、まるで宝石の中を覗いてるみたいだった。
Instead of finding a treasure chest, she began to see the ocean as treasure in and of itself.
もう一回いい？
As many times as you want. Emily took another deep breath, ready to go back under, when suddenly something huge floated into view. It was Chisa riding Finn.
びっくりさせないでよ。息止めてたから肺が爆発しそうになったじゃない。さっきからなーにイチャイチャしてんのよ。ぎゅー。
Huh? I was just lending a hand. You know she can't swim.
相変わらず親切だこと。私にも貸してほしいわね。
I'd like to meet a swimmer good enough to lend you a hand. That would probably only be Finn, an actual dolphin at this point.
おいでエミリー、島の周りを案内してあげる。無理、私泳げないもん。平気よ。九太郎が乗せてってくれるから。ね。キューキュー。
Ah, my sea son.
信用できるか。
Emily let go of my shoulder and began dog paddling furiously toward the beach. But she sank almost immediately. And faster than I could reach her. Finn held her up on the surface.
ありがとう。助けられるのはこれで2度目ね。本当は親切なイルカなのかしら。九太郎は海を愛する者の味方なのだ。
I wondered if Finn was starting to warm up to Emily now that she had warmed up to the sea. But that she wasn't your conventional dolphin, it was best not to let your guard down.
キュキュー。どこ行くの？
Finn began swimming out of the inlet with Emily still on top, clutching his dorsal fin. Chisa!
平気平気。あの子ちゃんとわかってるから。
Chisa said before taking off after them. I was nowhere near Chisa's level when it came to swimming, so I decided to wait in the inlet. About 5 minutes later, the 2 girls and 1 dolphin came back to the beach.
怖かった。 ずっと九太郎にしがみついてただけじゃない。
How far out did you go?
南島を一周しただけよ。ゆっくりとね。
Finn had been quite careful with Emily and kept his speed under tight control. But since it was Emily's first time on a dolphin, it probably still felt incredibly fast.
怖かったけど楽しかった。
She had been trembling, but suddenly her eyes sparkled as she pumped her fist in the air.
あのね、ヒロくん、すごく綺麗だったの。島の裏側にね、すっごいたくさんの魚がいてね。
Emily told me all about the things she'd seen. All this fish talk is making me hungry. I think we'll have sashimi for dinner tonight.
食べないで。信じられない。あんなに綺麗で可愛いお魚さんたちをどうして食べようとするのよ。そうだそうだ。
Chisa, how dare you? Like you two weren't eating those cute little fish last night.
それとこれとは別だもん。そうだそうだ。
This was getting absurd. Well, at least you're done hating the sea.
全然海は怖いわ。
It sounded like she had enjoyed herself, though. Maybe it was like riding a roller coaster for her.
小笠原の海って私が知ってる海と全然違う。磯臭くないし透明でとっても綺麗なのね。
Maybe it's true.
普通だって。キュキュ
Anyway, let's go have some fun. We ran around the shallows like little kids. Splashing, jumping, floating on the surface like jellyfish. I was in my pants and Emily in her uniform, but we didn't care at all. After about an hour, we were all totally exhausted. Let's go rest in the shade.
賛成。もっと遊びたいのに。たまにいるのよ。浮かれて遊びまくって次の日日焼けがひどくて病院に駆け込む観光客。日焼けで？
It's an actual burn, you know. In bad cases, they blister. Emily took off running out of the water and threw herself into the shade of the rocks. Chisa and I strolled over to lay down in the shade.
また後でね。
We cooled down under the shade of the rocks. And eventually we all closed our eyes. The sounds of rising winds could be heard, and I could feel something cold hitting my bare skin. Finn was getting more frantic.
うるさいな。もうちょっと寝かせてよ。海怖い。海怖い。でも綺麗。
Drip, drop. My eyes opened as the cold drops hit my face. Where am I? Why am I sleeping here? To my half-asleep mind, the scenery looked unfamiliar and I couldn't remember how I ended up here. But as my mind began to clear, a sudden realization took all the blood from my face. This place was quite familiar, but I had never seen it look so ominous and windswept. Chisa, wake up.
何よ。もう ちょっとだけ。
Emily too. Get up.
パパなんか知らないんだから。
I looked at the sky. The clear sky was covered in dark gray clouds. Below them, the shrill wind howled through the cliffs and across the beach. Finn was shrieking at Chisa from the water, trying to warn her. This was bad.
あれ、私何してたんだっけ。
We fell asleep on the beach.
岩陰で。
We're still on Minamijima. And look at the sky.
はあ、
Chisa began checking the weather forecast on their smartphone. But it was obvious. Emily! Wake up! Emily!
どうしたの？
We have to get out of here.
え？
Chisa was already up and getting the canoe ready to go. I ran over to help.
どうしたのよ、そんなに慌てて。台風よ、早く戻らないと父島に帰れなくなる。
Come on, Emily! Help!
わかった。
The three of us pushed the canoe off the beach and into the water. We quickly climbed inside as Chisa tried to start the engine. What's wrong?
エンジンがかからないの。
What? Is it broken?
わかんない。でもダメ、かかんない。
Instinctively, I grabbed the paddles and started rowing. Chisa kept trying the engine, but it wasn't looking promising.
もうどうなってるのよこれ。
There was clearly no choice but to row back to Chichijima. But that soon became impossible too.
超荒れてる。
The small inlet was sheltered, so there were hardly any waves at all. But right beyond the inlet, the sea was in an uproar.
この波じゃカヌーで海を渡るのは無理だよ。
And then, the skies opened up.
降ってきたわ。
They used the ballast to take us back to the beach. We had to pull it up so it doesn't get swept away.
わかった。
As we pulled the canoe onto the beach, the heavy rain continued and our clothes, dry after a nap, were soon soaked again.
どうしよう。どこかで雨をしのがないと。
Let's head for a cave. We rushed to take shelter in one of the caves in the rocky hillside. We found level ground and tried to get comfortable. Emily and Chisa sat together either side of me. I hope Finn's doing okay. Outside, the heavy rain had grown into a full-on storm. The typhoons in the Ogasawara Islands were different from the mainland, and for a first-timer they could be terrifying. If we were out in the open water now, we could have drowned.
だね。エンジンが壊れてなかったら逆に危なかったわ。
Chisa said gloomily, listening to the wind wailing outside. We had already contacted our families and been told to sit tight in the cave.
ちょっとだけ。
Emily took my hand, her expression worried.
いい
Oh, yeah, sure.
ありがとうヒロくん
Emily gripped my hand a little more tightly.
もうギュ
Oh my, Chisa, that's a little bold. Our arm is touching you. What are you doing, Chisa?
別になんか体が冷えてきちゃった
Chisa said, grabbing my arm and squeezing up against me. Hey,
何よそちらのお客様ばっかひいきしちゃってさ私だって怖いんだから
that's not what I meant. Chisa was in her swimsuit and I was shirtless, rather so close her bare skin sat right against mine. Your boob is touching me.
何
Never mind. With Chisa's breast resting against my arm, its softness was made all the more apparent. When we were little, Chisa and I had bathed together, but there had been no trace of the body filling her bikini now.
ベータ
Suddenly, a huge gust of wind blew into the cave, and the two girls shrieked and grabbed onto me. It was hard to breathe, squeezed between them. We should be safe in this cave.
どうしてそんなことが言えるの根拠は
Emily pulled closer, her eyes full of tears. Their eyes also suggested that any uninvited advances would be swiftly rejected. This was a bunker used by the Imperial Japanese Army in World War II, right, Chisa?
うんうちのおじいちゃんがそう言ってた軍隊が使ってたんだ
After hearing that, Emily seemed to become bothered by something else. Supposedly, there was a base here on Ogasawara. And so all the sunken battleships and freighters in the seas around the Ogasawara Islands turned into tourist attractions. The famous Battle of Iwo Jima took place on the Ogasawara Islands. But that was still far from Chichijima. The Ogasawara Islands went pretty far out into the Pacific Ocean.
だからよく出るって言うよね何が兵隊さんの幽霊
Chisa used a spooky voice in an attempt to scare Emily.
まだ戦争が終わったことに気づいてない兵隊さんの幽霊が夜な夜な島をさまよってるって嘘よ信じないわ幽霊なんているわけないもの非科学的よ信じようが信じまいが出るときは出るわよいないもんいるなら出してみなさいよいいのダメやっぱなし
As Emily buried her face in my shoulder, it was apparent that she was afraid of more than the sea. Come on, Chisa, that's enough.
はーいまあこのまま私らが幽霊になっちゃうかもしんないしね
Emily became gloomy when she remembered our situation.
私たちここで死んじゃうのかな
You're getting carried away. We'll make it back once the storm clears. A poorly timed gust of wind blew in, getting the girls all worked up again.
もうおしまいよ私たち助からないんだわパパママごめんなさいわがままなエミリーを許してバカ言わないでこの程度の台風小笠原じゃいつものことなんだからそう言いながらあなただって震えてるじゃないそれはちょっと寒いからで じゃあパーカー着なさいよ。ヒロ君に抱きついてないで。そんなの私の勝手でしょ。こっちの方が直接ヒロキのぬくもりを感じられてあったかいんだもん。
The two of them tightened their grips like anacondas.
死んじゃう前に言いたいこと言わせてもらうわ。私シサのこと嫌い。
Oh my god, Emily.
なんですって意地悪なことばかり言うんだもの。私がヒロ君と仲いいと邪魔しようとしてくるし。
And with that, she glared at Chisa's hand on my arm.
邪魔なんてしてないわよ。意地悪もしてない。嘘よ。嘘じゃない。ただあんたがエミリーが甘ったれてるからちょっとだけムカついてるだけ。ひどいわ。あんまりよ。どっちがよ。
Come on, girls, cut it out.
ヒロキは黙ってて。ヒロ君には関係ない。
With those two, you two are going to keep arguing and stop squeezing me.
意地悪。わがままで考えなしのお嬢様。聞いたヒロ君。私は意地悪って一つしか言ってないのにチサは3つ言ったわ。3つどころじゃないわよ。もっと言ってやるんだから。チサの意地悪意地悪意地悪意地悪意地悪意地悪。エミリーの甘えん坊甘えん坊甘えん坊甘えん坊甘えん坊。
Stop it right now. I put myself between them to stop their fight. This is not the time for a fight. Right now we have to work together.
私に言わないでよ。喧嘩売ってきたのはあっちなんだから。店おしまいだもん。言いたいこと言ってすっきりしたわ。おやすみ。
Emily turned her back to us and laid down on the floor of the cave. She closed her eyes but never released my hand.
ふんっと。それはこっちのセリフよ。
Chisa turned away and lay down. She didn't hold my hand but pushed her back right against me. It looked like they were both going to sleep in the huff. Oh boy. It'd be a while before the typhoon moved on, and sleeping was a much better way to kill time than fighting. I made myself comfortable and decided to continue my nap.